What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If y'all know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. But first, before you check them out, just of course stay here, watch this one. Chill with me, chill with current me at least. So with that being said, we're going to straighten the camera out a tiny bit. All right. So with that being said, today's topic is what condition should your firearms be if there is a child or children in the home. Now we're going to start with pistols. My Glock 23 chamber is empty. You guys can see that. All right. So what I would do, for example, with my home defense pistol. This all depends on age range, by the way. I should have mentioned that before. This all varies on age range, and I'm a firm believer that it doesn't take too old of a child to understand proper firearm safety. So let's start with, a very young age, baby, toddler, infant, whatever you want to describe it as. One, if it's, for example, like a Glock, right? Once again, we can see the chamber's empty. What I would do is I would, keep the chamber empty. Keep a load of mag in there, that's fine. Chamber's empty though, Glock triggers, they stay back once you pull them on an empty chamber, or if it was a light strike. And I'd be okay with that, because let's be realistic here. No child that small is going to have the strength to rack the slide back. And some of y'all are like me and use 40 Smith & Wesson gun for a home defense pistol. So those springs are a bit tighter than your standard 9mm springs. And I'll be honest, a child that young couldn't even, rack the slide back on 9mm springs. It's just not something that can really happen. That, in my opinion, would probably be the best way to, go about it. Now, here's what I will say. That's if you're leaving your firearm, like, just on your table or something, and your child might, be in the room or whatever. What I would do if, I am going to have a round chambered, I don't want anyone to go near it, is I would have a little, you could argue a small safe or lockbox would be another word for it, whatever you want to say. That's what I would more so go for if I wanted to keep a round in the chamber. However, there's a couple of things that, these are my opinions on it, right? So any firearm that I keep around in the chamber, if there's a child in my home, because keep in mind, me and Brie don't have any children currently. If there's a child in our home, I usually just put my firearms away. Especially firearms I have around in the chamber. Now, let's say, for some reason I decided not to, I'll keep my Glock 23 out, and there won't be an issue because I don't keep around in the chamber on that. Most home defense situations, you have the time to grab your pistol and rack the slide. Now, granted, that isn't all. That is, a great deal of them. That's the one good thing about, a situation where you're defending your home, I guess you could say, is that you have the upper advantage because it is your home. So with that being the case, if you're going to leave your firearm out, I guess the best way to do it would not have a round in the chamber. That would be the best way to go about it. However, if you're going to, if you don't plan on your firearm really being out, like, for example, I'd leave this on my nightstand. You know what I mean? Just hear a weird noise. Oh, hold on. Let me try to. Sorry, low battery, y'all. Shame on me. Low battery. If I heard a bump in the night, reach for this as I'm getting up, rack the slide back, I'm in action, I'm ready to go. You see what I mean? So that's how I go about it. I understand some people are different. They either would put it in their nightstand or whatever, and that's fine. And if you want to keep around in the chamber and you really are too worried about something happening, as I said, you can get a safe, a lockbox. You can put it in your nightstand if your nightstand has a little lock on it. There are a lot of options for you. Put it in a place where your child can't reach it. We're talking about very young children at the moment. Now let's raise the age range just a tiny bit. Actually, no. Let me go back. We're gonna go back to the very, very little jitterbug age range, right? Let's talk about rifles and just long guns overall. Home defense. Let's just start with shotguns, right? Shotguns are great for home defense. Amazing. They have great stopping power. However, most pump shotguns, which are often the most reliable, are, much older technology than what we deal with today. So with that being the case, they're not necessarily safe to keep around in the chamber overall. In case they fall, they can go off. So that's already not a good idea to do, regardless of children in the home. Not to mention shotguns. Actually, most long guns overall have a much lighter trigger than pistols do. Now, before we get the keyboard warriors that are commenting down, oh yeah, well there's this one model that has a fucking 20-pound trigger pull. I'm not saying there aren't long guns that have, a heavier trigger pull. I'm just saying it's not the most common thing. So with that being the case, shotguns is already not the safest idea to keep around in the chamber on them, especially if we're talking like a pump. That most of them are made from older technology. Let's move on to rifles. I'll be honest with you. Hold on one second. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't see a need to keep around in the chamber in your rifle for a home defense situation. If you have the time to pick up your pistol and rack around in the chamber, you're gonna have enough time to pull a charging handle on your rifle. Now, what I will say is, I've talked a lot about, for example, Adam. What firearm would I reach for in a home defense situation first? Uh, and it seems logical to go for the pistol first because the easiest maneuverability. If you have a light on yours like I do on mine, see what's going on, right? If it's multiple armed intruders, you can empty your mag right there, retreat inside, get your rifle, get your long gun, whatever. And you know what I mean? It can be very helpful, especially to have a light for a situation like that. But that's not the point of this video. I'm getting a little off topic here. I'm sorry. I miss talking to the camera, I miss talking to y'all. So I'm going to go off on a little bit of tangents here and there. But my point, though, is that with rifles overall, I don't see a necessity to keep around in the chamber for my home defense rifle. The main reason why is because, as I said, if I'm going to have enough time to pick up my pistol and, and rack the slide, I'm going to have enough time to, rack that charging handle too. So that being the case, I don't see there really being an issue with rifles, shotguns, pistols, all around, children of that age range, as long as you don't have a round in the chamber. As long as you don't have it ready to where, they could make one little movement and the gun will be ready. Like, for example, right? You can see I have a mag in here, but the slide is locked back. I wouldn't recommend leaving a firearm near a child just laying out like this because it doesn't take much effort to drop that slide. Now, just to show you, magazine is out, chamber is obviously empty. It doesn't take much effort. See what I mean? It just took my thumb and not much pressure from my thumb at that. And around, round will be in the chamber. The gun will be ready to go. So, for example, having the slide block back, maybe the bolt on your AR or whatever, wouldn't be the best idea. That's for that age range. Now, let me specify. Once you get to a certain age point, I would like to argue, 7, 8, 9, right? Jesus. All right, 7, 8, 9. I would argue it's a good time to start teaching a child about firearm safety. And in good extent, you teach them about firearms, how they function. You teach them the four main safety rules of firearms. You teach them to not be a dumbass with them. Teach them to respect firearms. You teach them to know how to properly clear a malfunction. You teach them what to do if there's a firearm around and no adult. You teach them what to do if they see a firearm laying around and they can find an adult. You teach them all of these things. For example, if me and Bree had a kid, right? And our kid was like 8 or 9, and I just had no gun laying around in the chamber. He will know by that age, you do not fucking touch that. If you touch that, a lot of bad things are going to happen to you. You're going to get an ass whooping at the bare minimum. Illegal ass whooping, I might add. Corporal punishment is still legal, guys. So, that's not my point, though. My point is that they're gonna, they're gonna learn to not do that shit. You're not gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, wow, it's a gun. Maybe I should pick it up. Maybe I should pull the trigger." No, no. They're gonna come get me, or Bree, or whatever adult would be in the vicinity. Hey, there's this firearm laying around here. I don't know if you want to move it or if you want to clear it and then move it, whatever. That's what they're going to do. Now, if there is no adult around and there's a firearm laying around, the best idea, no matter what, is for them to, one, not touch it. However, if you have taught them to clear a firearm properly, I don't see an issue in a child just making sure the firearm is clear. Now, look, if, once again, this is an easy thing to do. Take the magazine out, lock the slide back. Round should come out of the chamber at that point. Set the gun down, the magazine next to it. It's not very hard to teach a child. It's very easy. Honestly, a 3-year-old could understand it, realistically speaking. So that being the case, there's a certain age range where I don't think it matters if you have a round in the chamber as long as you were good with teaching your child or your children firearm safety. Now, I wouldn't, just because that age range difference doesn't mean, for example, with a shotgun that I would recommend putting around in the chamber, once again, older technology, probably not drop safe. However, overall, it's not hard to teach a child about gun safety, and if they're teenagers, they definitely should know about gun safety at that point. If you're worried that maybe your child might get to your firearm and take it to school or do some stupid shit, then I'll be honest, there's one of two things that needs to happen. They either, one, need to know the safety concerns when it comes to firearms overall, like, and have it ingrained in their head, just so they can understand that that's just such a stupid idea to do. Or two, they need to go to a doctor. Because let's be honest here, if y'all think that your kid is gonna sit there and mess with your gun, accidentally shoot themselves, their friends, maybe even take your gun and take it to school, you fail to teaching them firearm safety, and look, if you think they're gonna take it and do something bad with it, they need to go to some level of fucking therapy or some shit. You know what I mean? You need to keep a firearm the hell away from them completely. There are lock boxes and safes. Once again, it's just all dependent on it depends on the situation. There are varying factors to it based off age, what kind of firearms we're talking about, a lot. You know what I mean? I don't think it's the biggest deal though that a firearm is left around a child, as long as there's not, depending on the age range, what the child knows about firearm safety, the condition of the firearm, all these things matter. You know what I mean? For example, let's say the child knows nothing about firearm safety, nothing at all. But I know the condition of my firearm. There's no round in the chamber, the trigger's pulled back, there is a loaded magazine in there, but child's too small to rack the slide back. What are they going to do? They're going to pick it up. They're going to fuck around and point it at people. They're going to get yelled at for pointing a gun at people. Might even get an ass whooping. They'll learn to not do that shit again. So I think it's just all about being smart and teaching your children how to be safe with these. Because overall, there may be a situation one day where, you're not home, your child is home, and a home intruder tries breaking in. There may be a situation like that one day, and you don't want your child to be scared to go to the gun to protect themselves. You want them to know how to do it properly. You don't want them to just go to the gun for, anything. You don't want them to sit there and see a gun and just start playing with it, though. You want them to respect and understand what comes with firearm ownership or using a firearm overall. With that being said, I think that's a good place to stop this video. I don't want to go too far on tangents here. I think I got my point made here. Something I'm sure y'all have been waiting to hear. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And because, you know what I'm saying, you guys agree with me here. It's not that big of a deal whether there's a firearm around a child, as long as the condition of the firearm is in a safe manner. Go and check out Adam's channel, podcast channel, Gun.TV, Centerfire Podcast. Y'all know what the deal is. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.